You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design Feng Shui School, episode 129. Oh no, my bathroom is in my wealth area. Welcome to episode 129 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Angie Cho and Laura Morris are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School. Together, they have over 3 decades of experience designing harmonious living spaces. Laura and Angie have guided thousands of people to shift their energy and revitalize their lives. Mindful Design School offers feng shui courses and certifications. Check us out at mindfuldesignschool.com. And if you want to listen to the older podcast episodes and check out our store, you can visit holisticspaces.com. So before we jump into, oh no, my bathroom is in my wealth area, we just wanted to remind everyone that our next certification session is starting. We have our next semester of students enrolling now. It's pretty cool. And in case you didn't know, we keep the class size very small. We have a limit of 27 students because Laura and I personally work with each student. We mentor each student, and we don't want to make it a big anonymous Zoom classroom situation, but we actually take personal responsibility and meet each student and work with you directly. So if you've been thinking about diving deep into feng shui, learning more, or even considering making this a career, definitely check out our certification. We also have another course called Practical Feng Shui, which is a almost monthly workshop that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is a nice way to just dip your toe in and get to know how Laura and I teach and ask a question about feng shui or usually what we end up doing is just reading people's floor plans. And it's really fun because you get to see up to 8 other floor plans, and it's in a nice 1 hour Zoom setting, which I think is engaging it. And so yeah, we hope to see you at one of our classes soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we usually have one a month. So go check it out. We find that a lot of people that are thinking about doing the certification, they like to test it out with the practical feng shui too. So, and see how we work and see what it's like to read a floor plan, because it's a pretty cool thing.
Yep. Oh, and then people should definitely sign up for a mailing list because in August, we're going to have a free webinar, a special class, and you will really only be able to sign up for that if you're on our mailing list.
Yep. So today, oh, wait, I'm going to do mine. I'm going to do that. Oh no, my bathroom is in my wealth area. My hair is standing on air. Look, my hair is standing on end. Yeah. So the reason we're doing it like this is because, believe it or not, we actually do get emails and inquiries like this quite frequently, or comments. I find that it's like comments on our social media, that kind of stuff. Like, oh my God, oh my, and sometimes it's OMG, what do I do if? So we're here to walk you through what to do. And also to explain to those of you that aren't panicked, going, wait a minute, was I supposed to worry about this? No, you're not supposed to worry about this. But we're going to explain what it is first. So we're going to explain what it is. We're going to talk about how you can fix it. And we're going to just take the panic out and make it easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So what does it mean when we say, oh no, my bathroom is in my wealth area? So for those of you that are familiar, have been listening to this podcast for a while, have been following our blog, or you've, got a little bit of familiarity with feng shui, you'll know the term bagua. And the bagua is, for lack of a better word, a map, which our teacher does not like when we say a map. She's told us, but we keep saying it because it's so much easier to understand. It's basically a way to look at your home and place this metaphysical lens on it. And each of these areas, and it's divided into 9 areas, 9 parts. The center is the Tai Chi. So it's so the unifying element. And then all of the remaining 8 that surround that center area are called guas or areas. And each of those areas connects back to part of your life. Well, it connects back to many, many, many things. There's lots of layers on it. But one of the things that most people know is that it speaks to, or it connects to, or it resonates with something that's going on in your own life. So it could be your family, it could be how you get resources and helpful people, how you learn things, how you tap into your own knowing and awareness, how your career and life purpose moves forward, or as what we're talking about today, your money, your wealth, your finances, your blessings, your prosperity, your abundance, all the stuff that ties around that. So, and if you want to know more about this, if you go to our blog page, and we'll probably have it in the show notes, we do have a free download that walks you through how to lay the bagua in a very simple way. So
And
by the
way, I know Laura said not to say anything about this, but someone had put a comment about accusing us of not giving them a comprehensive enough feng shui checklist, and then insisting that we go to our blog page full of advertisements, but we actually don't have any advertising on our blog page.
We have no advertising.
And this is like our career, and this is how we make our living, and this is part, I'm actually doing the podcast as part of our marketing. So but the main reason why we want you to go to the blog is because you can just find more information and search more about what you want. And we're not going to touch on every single point in a podcast because number one, that's not how feng shui works. If feng shui was like a checklist, then you wouldn't need to talk to anyone about it, right? But nothing in life is that simple. I think that everyone can look at their own respective careers or own respective interests and know that when you have an expertise in something, you have a more nuanced perspective on it. So whether it's like teaching someone how to bake bread, or it's talking about feng shui or parenting, there are, it's wonderful that there's podcast resources of people like Laura and I talking about things and doing marketing for ourselves and offering this free information. And we also have a blog so you can learn more. So we're not trying to actually get you to click through all our ads, because we don't have any of that set up on our blogs. It's actually just a blog that like we write the blogs and we pay a web person to put them up. So, and it's all for your benefit. So we hope that you will check it out. We put a lot of time and effort into offering so much of this free information for all of you so that we can change the way that people think about feng shui. We could change the way that you live in your home, that you can become more mindful, and also because it's something that we love. And then we hope that a few, maybe only 54 students a year, may sign up for our certification. So anyways, please do check out our blog because we have so much, a wealth of information. And Laura and I have been blogging for decades.
Yes. And so when you go to look on our website where there are no ads except for, a click through to see what we teach and our workshops for more content, you will find in the blog tab, you will find a little free download. And it'll give you basically, if you want to figure out how to lay the bagua on your home, and actually your bedroom, I think is what we walk you through because it's super easy. So now that we know what that means to say you have a wealth area, so then we kind of layer in, well, what does it mean? Why do I care if there's a bathroom in my wealth area? Why would I care about such a thing? And mainly you're caring about the toilet. If we had to pick one thing, I mean, there's lots of water in a bathroom generally. And, sometimes we talk about like elements and how to balance them. But the main thing is the fact that there is a toilet, and the toilet creates quite a suction and a drain out, and it generally drains water, but it's wastewater, but it's a lot of water, and it's a suction out and away from the home. And so in feng shui, it's all about, water represents energy, it represents qi, water flowing into the home. I mean, we used to always think, oh, I should put a fountain out in the front of my house, have the water flowing towards you. Yes. Yes, sometimes, but yeah, the idea is that water flowing generally is a good thing. And so when it's sucked down your toilet and away from your house, that's not great. So, but having said all that, the next point is going to be don't panic. But before I get there, so if you think about that from a perspective of not knowing a whole lot about feng shui, but just knowing enough to be worried, and then you think, oh my goodness, so let me get this straight. I have a big suction and wastewater in my wealth area. That doesn't sound good, does it? And this is where we kind of get the little bit of panic, right? Because there people are like, oh no. So now what do I do? So
Yeah. Oh, can I add
Angie,
something?
yeah, definitely go.
And another thing that our teachers sometimes reminded us was that so feng shui comes from China, and many different cultures have a form of looking at their own environment to situate your home or your built environment in a more advantageous way to be in harmony with nature. So when feng shui was developed in ancient China and other disciplines, actually, in ancient times, the bathroom or the latrine was actually a very not what we think about when we think about our lovely spa bathrooms where we want to take our baths with crystals and salts, and where we get ready in the morning, and where most people spend a huge amount of their budget in their renovation. But back then, when feng shui was developed, you wanted the latrine far from the home, and if it was closer to the home, it would bring you could bring sickness, illness. It was not a pleasant place to be before there was plumbing, right? Indoor plumbing. And even when there was indoor plumbing, I'm sure it wasn't the nicest thing either. So if we really think about how we look at modern bathrooms now, modern bathrooms are recent. And so while the sentiment is still there about what the bathroom represents, it's also not as critical as it was when in reality the bathroom was a place to very much pay attention to the location, right? So a lot of feng shui is very common sense.
Yeah.
And so that's where some of this idea comes from as well.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to our next point, which is really, okay, what do I do now? But before we give you ways to adjust this from a feng shui standpoint, don't panic, don't worry. First of all, your bathroom is a place to see your bathroom, shift your mindset and see your bathroom as a place to reset, rejuvenate, and recharge. And that will change how you feel about it. So I honestly feel that sometimes when we get this question from people, the people that are commenting on it have more worries than just about their bathroom in the wealth area. And I think that there is this constant fear around a lot of things with money and a lot of things with lack and not having these things. And then they hear this thing like, oh, well then, and then they latch onto it. So what we want you to walk, if we were to get you to walk away with one tip today, and it's not really one of our tips because we have actual tips, it is don't don't let yourself get sucked into that. Don't panic, don't worry, because when you start, because then you'll be like, well, I think it's like creates this mind spin of like, well, that makes total sense that my toilet is in my wealth area because I'm this when I don't have any of this and I don't have this and I don't have this and I don't have this and I never have this. So if that sounds familiar to you, I think from what we're going to tell you is the fact that to know that this is a feng shui symbol and represents certain thing is the first start. So say, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Now I know this. So you can use simple fixes and awareness. And just by that alone, think of it as not only fixing the feng shui problem, but use it as an opportunity to shift your mindset and to
Yeah.
not get sucked down that toilet as well.
I like that. And I think, Laura, you make a really good point as we see a trend of the people who get the most concerned about this is not the most important thing to actually address in terms of bringing yourself up to a financially healthy situation. Um, and our teachers also always taught us that the mundane adjustment, doing what's actually needed in the world, is more important than doing a feng shui adjustment, like an energetic adjustment. So you can, of course, what you want to do both in tandem, but what's more important is taking care of the real world issue on the earth realm. So if you are genuinely having financial difficulties and you also have a bathroom in the wealth area, you don't only want to do the feng shui corrections, but you also need to do the things that you need to do in the world to work with your financial health. And also, Laura and I, when we work with our students and when we work with our clients, we really unpack that. We never just take if someone says I want to work on my wealth, that's not the end of the conversation. That is the beginning of the conversation, because usually there are so many other things that we have to ask. We could probably spend like 15 minutes really laser focusing what that means, because it's a very broad comment.
Yeah. And I think if you are, for those of you that clicked on this and got, said, aha, I knew, and I'm looking for this, and this is me, and oh my goodness, I think you should use this opportunity. The fact that you have a bathroom in the wealth area is an opportunity for you to say, I think your home is telling you something that maybe you're not. Your home is telling you, you picked the home for a reason. It is what it is. Your home is telling you, you're not doing the work that needs to be done on, as Angie said, this plane. And so, this is an opportunity for you to make these feng shui adjustments that we're going to give you, but really you need to do the work as well. And that counts with anything. I mean, the mundane, without the transcendental is kind of, you don't want to go too deep too fast when you can do something so simple and just be really practical about it. So okay, so that brings us to how do we adjust this? So we've talked about it. Now we've said, okay, I am going to use this as an opportunity to change the way I think about money, the way I think about prosperity, the way I think about gratitude and blessings and all these things. And you're going to go in and we're going to share a few. The first one, which is, so one thing about the wealth area, which I'm sure we have some other podcasts on this, but anyway, one other thing about the wealth area is that each of these guas has an element that's attached to it. And for the wealth area, which is called Shun in Chinese, and that's when we teach our students, we generally get them to learn the Chinese names of each of the guas, because there are so many layers to a gua that it tends to get you pigeonholed when you just sit there and say the word wealth. But anyway, just for our sake of ease, and we're going to talk about the wealth area. The wealth area is a wood gua, which means that if you added wood to it, let's say hypothetically, that would support it, right? So it's wood, it's growth, it's the color green. And so if you added a plant to your bathroom, hopefully, because it's in the area that it's in, hopefully you have a natural light source. And if you do, you could place a plant on the back of a toilet tank or somewhere that's easy. You could hang a plant. Hanging plant in a bathroom is really cool. And if you don't have the light source, and this question will come up, so I'm going to answer it right now. Yes, you can use an artificial plant if it's very lifelike. It has to be very realistic looking, but yes, you can. But obviously, a real plant is going to be your first choice. So that's one simple way to adjust it, and kind of the big way. What do you, Angie?
Yeah.
You got?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good one. And we have like a whole other episode on plants, you can listen to that.
That's true.
And unfortunately, we must say it, we have blog posts on plants too, if you're inclined to get off the podcast, and you can definitely search our blog. We have a lot of information, a wealth of information that we're happy to share with you. And then the second tip that we have is to keep the door closed. So This is actually a very practical tip as well, because it keeps the moisture from the bathroom, from um, or that's any smells from the bathroom from like permeating the rest of the space. But if you have a bathroom in a problematic gua like the wealth gua, you can just keep the door closed and to energetically kind of close off that chi, and
Yep.
to prevent other things from draining out, your wealth from draining away.
Yeah, it's kind of an easy, simple fix,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people think isn't enough. But really, I mean, let's get realistic. It is. Close the door. Really simple. The other, the other thing we would tell you to do, and it kind of goes along with the plant, because the one other part of the plant is, besides the fact that it supports it because it's a wood gua, it also, you can visualize it pulling, lifting the chi, raising the chi up, drinking all that water in your bathroom. So tip number 3 would be, to that point, excessive water. How is your bathroom functioning? Like, do you have any leaks? Like, when you close your taps, are you still getting that drip, drip, drip? Or does your toilet sit there and go and endlessly fill that toilet tank? Because it's a little, I don't know, there's like some really simple little thing you fix in the back and I can't remember, but are those things happening to you? Because if so, fixing leaks in the bathroom is huge. I mean, that's a big one. You should be you should be doing those kind of not even mundane. I mean, yeah, they're mundane, but they're also ways to fix things that represent, in feng shui, that represent certain things. So stop the leak, stop the water going down the drain more than, excessive leaks. You don't need that. So go do a little audit and see what's going on in your bathroom as well.
Yeah, and there's many different layers to this last one about fixing any leaks. But one thing that just comes to mind, I mean, I could talk about this for an hour, I think, different ways that we can look at the meaning of fixing a leak in your home. But it just, on a very basic level, when you acknowledge and take the time to fix a leak in your home, you are acknowledging that water is a precious resource, that you don't want to waste it, that and that you keep things well maintained in your home. There's so many nuances to that, because someone who doesn't care about resource, water is very precious. If you don't care about something as precious as water, which is our really important for humans, we need water to thrive. In fact, feng shui means wind and water. That's what it translates to. If you have this acknowledgement of even a drop of water is precious, and you will take the time to maintain your home and repair little things like this, it trickles down to many different places in your life. So beginning to become more mindful, be more conscious, respecting the resources of the earth, respecting the resources of other people. This has a big teaching in it.
Yes. Um, Agreed. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave you with this last little bit before we wrap up this thing. And Angie touched on it. Sometimes you need to drill down a little deeper, and it isn't about the bathroom. So we would say that if this is a real concern for you and this has triggered something in you and you are really, really worried, that we always do this, recommend you work with a feng shui consultant, practitioner. On our page, back on our website, there is actually a tab for our graduates that are our consultants from our program, and they are legit consultants, and we just like to spread the word because we want them to succeed. And they're lovely people, and they're all amazing, and you can go on and check them all out there. You should work with a certified consultant, or an educated, qualified feng shui consultant, because sometimes maybe it's not about your wealth. Maybe you're underemployed. Maybe there's something going on in another part of your home. Maybe you don't have any, you're feeling really low and you don't have that self-esteem, which is a totally different area of the bagua. So, I mean, there's so many things that could be going on, that this will start. Maybe this is going to start your journey and your curiosity and your awareness into what's going on, if this is really triggering something in you. And this is And I think to be able to use this as an opportunity to shift your mindset and change how you feel about your financial situation, and absolutely do these tips because they're super simple, and feel that and trust that they are the beginning of something better, and you're going to move past this, I think is really important. But know that sometimes you might need to drill down a little, just a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one last thing, sometimes also when you do have a bathroom in your wealth area, it is like an indication to take a little bit more care in what's going on with your finances. It's like, look up, it's a sign from your home. It's a message from your home saying, hey, just be sure everything's going okay with your finances. There may be something leaking away. There may be some difficulty that you're not aware of. And it can give you just a little signpost to see, to take extra care when it comes to your finances. If nothing is, if your finances are fine. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Laura. Thanks for walking us through this. And thank you, our listeners, for listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can tune in every Monday for a new podcast episode. And if you like our podcast and this episode, you can share it with others. And you can also explore the world of holistic spaces and feng shui on an even deeper level by visiting our website at mindfuldesignschool.com. And that's a really great way to support the podcast because we don't have any advertising. We do this on our own to market for our program for mindfuldesignschool.com. So we have our certification that we do twice a year, and we have some mini courses like the practical feng shui workshop every month, and some seasonal courses from here and there, like around Chinese New Year. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.